Hello everyone, my name is Konstantinos Servis and I work as an application specialist here at Pawsey in Western Australia. Today I would like to present you um, basic usage of the LTS online system, which is our new storage system here at Pawsey that we'll be using, and it will be replacing our storage systems previously used. The Ceph Object Gateway is or the storage gateway, or Magenta, or you will hear other names by which we call it here at Pawsey, is based on Red Hat Ceph, specifically Red Hat Ceph Object Storage, as opposed to Ceph FS, for instance. Um, the interface by which we are using is S3 is compatible for the most part with Amazon S3, and in fact you can use Amazon S3 clients. For this brief how-to, I will be using Windows. I will be using WSL, which is a Windows subsystem for Linux, which is effectively a Linux VM that's running in Windows, and you can find it in every Windows um, environment these days. And I will be using Anaconda, which is a virtual environment manager and installer for Python. I highly recommend using Anaconda, so you'll be able to follow much more easily what I am presenting, or some other virtual environment like VN or something like that. Otherwise, you may have problems. So here are the steps in this brief how-to. First of all, we'll be installing the OpenStack client. We'll be obtaining an RC file from Nimbus, from the portal. We'll be creating the credentials. We'll be getting the Minio client. We'll be configuring the Minio client. We'll create a Minio alias and we'll copy back and for some data just as a demonstration. And finally, I'll briefly show you how you can get the MD5 checksum for a file that is already up there, which is, I think, something that many of you will be interested in. So let's start with the first step. So setting up the environment. As I said, I'm using Anaconda, command line for which is Conda. So I'm creating a virtual environment. I'm calling it an LTS video, and for that I'm using Python 3. Right. So while the installation is happening, I'll be pausing the video as there's no. All right, here we are back. So here I've installed everything successfully. So I'm doing a conda activate so that I can activate the environment. You will see on the low left corner in my shell that we are in this at the moment. This environment, we're using this environment. So the next thing to do is use pip to install the Python OpenStack client. So here it is. It has quite a few dependencies, so I'll be pausing the video again. And it's done. So let's go back to our list of things to do. The next thing to do is obtain the RC file. Now we'll be going to a browser for this. So go to our browser, go to the Nimbus portal, log in with our username and password, and quite simply click on API access and get the file. The file will be named something similar to your project name. In my case, this is FireOpal, and I'll be showing that in such a, so I save that in my download folder. So here's the next bit is we have to create the credentials. So here we are back at the terminal creating the credentials. I'm moving the RC file that I created. As I said, it's called something yeah, something to do with your project. My project is FireOpal, so I copied it here. Then you need to use source with that file. Type your password, the one you use for Nimbus, of course. So this is your Nimbus password. Let's see if that worked. So if this works, should show me some credentials. No, must have typed in wrong my password. Let's try again. I have to do a source again. Okay, so the list now gives us some credentials which I've created previously. So I'll just go ahead and delete that one. It's important to delete and not give out these passwords, or delete them when you don't need them. Don't give them out, as somebody may have complete access to your bucket if you uh, provide these to them. All right, just verify that. Sure enough, it's no longer there. Here I'm going to create credentials again. Here they are. I'm going to copy this, as I will need them for the next step. So going back to our presentation, the next step is getting the Minio client. So in order to get our Minio client, I'll need to go back to my browser, open a new tab, or you can do it in the same tab. Now, I've looked at this before, so I know where it is, but you can simply search for Minio CLI client in Google, and there is a complete guide, but we're going for the quick start guide. Now, what I need is to download, so I know which version I need to download is the Linux version, because I'm, as I said, using WSL, despite the fact that this is a Windows machine. I'm not using Windows in this case, or I'm using Windows, but I'm using Linux through Windows, so I'm using this. The next thing I need to do is, as this is the guide, I need to go and find out how do I set up my credentials. So for this I need an alias. It will look something like that. And I will also use that in a further step. So next step is, let's configure the Minio client. So, oh sorry, I'm going to yes, just edit the command first. I can't just type what I found there. So I'm going to call the alias Ceph, but you can call it absolutely anything you like. Ceph is not significant in this invocation. I need to use the Pawsey endpoint, and it's important to know that this may change both the port, and I believe by the time we get to closer to production, we may have an alternative URL as well, but more at the moment this is what it is, and should be correct. So important to note that it's 8080, the port, and not the one we got back when we created the credentials, which is 5000. This is a different port for a different purpose. So here's the access key, the secret key, and our line is ready now. All right. So now that we have done this, the next thing we need to do is create a Minio alias like we've created and upload. The big moment has come to upload and download some file. So first let's create the alias. So it's been created. And then let me make a bucket. Now this is not the correct way to make a bucket because you need to use a slash between your alias and the bucket name. So here is the bucket. I'll call it LTS video. Let's list this. Should be empty. There's nothing there. Let's actually list on the root and in the alias. We can see that there is an alternative bucket that I've created for my own project. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to copy a file. So let's create a file with some random content and copy that to our newly created bucket. Okay, so that's worked. Easy. We can list the top. We can list the bucket, and we see that there is only one file. We can also dump the file to the terminal. There we are. Now we can copy this file back to our current directory, and that's it. Now the final bit I wanted to talk about is seeing the MD5 sum. I think this will be useful to some of you. So here it is. Back in the terminal, you use the Minio client, do a stat on that file. Notice the Etag has a hash-like number. Well, actually it is an MD5 hash. So, yep, we are done. I hope this has been useful to you. And as I said in the beginning, I will be providing some links and some more information in the description of the video. And please let me know if this has been helpful to you. And I hope to see you back in later videos where I will be explaining how we can use ourselves with SDKs, Amazon SDKs, etc. Thank you. I'll see you back.